Gamers and gentlefolk, hello and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Nexus Gaming Series. Welcome back to the Nexus Division. And welcome to Season 20. I'm going to be your host this evening, The Sound, and I am thrilled to bring the second Nexus Division game of the season. We're going to see gillySharks at Bingo Night versus Lightwell Unleashed. This is a best-of-3 series between these two. Our first look at both of them in Season 20. A little bit of background on them. gillySharks have been one of the longest running teams in the Nexus Gaming Series, participating at least all the way back to Season 6, which is as far back as the website will go, but I believe they've been playing for more seasons than that. Whereas Lightwell Unleashed are a new team this season, but many of them are from Winter is Coming. I believe they were a Division A squad last season. All that to say, Lightwell Unleashed, though a new team, do have synergy built up. They have played together before. We can head over to our battleground selection to see where we're headed and where we aren't in the series. And as soon as I update, there we are. So we had gillyShark win the coin toss and opt for first pick, with map bans going on to Braxis Holdout and Towers of Doom for gillyShark, while Lightwell Unleashed banned out Dragonshire and Cursed Hollow. So we are headed to Tomb of the Spider Queen for Game 1. As selected by Lightwell Unleashed, it is a map that relies on good wave clear, tight rotations, and strong vision play. So, heroes that come to mind for me are Johanna, of course. Her wave clear from the tank role really makes the draft more flexible. On the vision control side of things, of course, there's always Junkrat, bringing both vision control tools in Steel Trap and Concussion Mine, and also a fair bit of wave clear themselves. We relatively recently got a new patch. You can use !patch in chat in case you are not up on the latest patch notes. And it looks like our teams are ready to get into the draft for game number 1. So let's see how the Nexus Division meta shapes up here. The first Nexus Division match got played yesterday, with Duratin's Couch winning a 2-0 over, I believe it was Meta Tragedy Simps, but don't quote me on that one. We see Johanna ban, makes sense. She's still in a pretty strong spot in the meta, and as mentioned, her wave clear from the tank role really frees up your draft for drafting assassins with a little bit less clear, something like a Genji or an Alarak even. We see Dahaka and Blaze bans. Dahaka nerfed in the most recent patch, both to the enhanced agility level 1 talent and perhaps that was it. It was just the move speed nerf. Can't remember offhand. We'll see what our second ban is from Lightwell Unleashed. They're going to go with Stukov. Okay. So, gillyShark wanted first pick. They're going to first pick Leoric. Now, having broadcast gillyShark before, I can tell you that the early Leo means that it could very well be a main tank Leoric, as we have Vala and Ariel picked up by Lightwell Unleashed. A very potent duo. The Deckard response, I think, makes a lot of sense. Level 7 gives him access to one of the more potent heal reduction abilities in the game in the form of Emerald, which can be really punishing for Oriel's kind of telegraphed AoE healing. There's the Diablo ban. And we'll see how gillyShark want to narrow the pool. They could look to ban another offlaner here, with Leoric already picked up and Blaze Dahaka out of the pool. It's going to be Uther instead, worrying a bit about a double support main tank Uther setup. We've got a different Hammer Bro, Muradin, marauding through the Nexus. And I'll be interested to see if they go with more frontline heroes to cushion the Vala. We see the Thrall pickup. Thrall, another hero with some flexibility as far as their draft role. Could be an offlane Thrall, which would be a little low on wave clear, but it could also be Core 4 Thrall, giving that extra frontline presence to protect Vala. Last two picks here for Schumann and Grand Paladin. See how they want to round out the draft. It's going to be Falstad and Nubarak. Alright, last pick here for Lightwell Unleashed. I'm expecting an offlane choice. That Thrall, to me, says Core 4. Lightwell Unleashed a little bit light on wave clear for Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Here we go again.
And it's Chromie instead. Okay. Fair enough. Let's take a look at our two drafts as the teams get through the swap phase and load into our game number 1. As mentioned, I'm a little bit concerned about Lightwell Unleashed insofar as their wave clear is a little bit low. Certainly compared to gillyShark. gillyShark with Gul'dan and Leoric, and Falstad too, frankly. They all contribute a fair bit of wave clear. Chromie, not so bad. Vala, not so bad, but I don't think the rest of the team is really going to contribute much to waves, and if gillyShark are able to get ahead on the rotation, they might not be as concerned about the raw fighting power that Lightwell Unleashed have drafted for themselves. Of course, it always comes down to execution, so we'll see which team takes it in the end as we get into game 1. We can introduce our teams. First on the left in blue, we've got gillyShark at Bingo Night, EKB on Gul'dan, Stark on Falstad, Iron playing Deckard, Schumann on Leoric, and Grand Paladin playing Anubarak. To the right in red, we've got Lightwell Unleashed, Google Me on Muradin, Draves on Thrall, Chrysinator on Vala, Rogue playing Ariel, and Robot Wizard on the Chromie. We take a look at our level 1 talents. Pursuit of Flame for EKB, opting for the Fell Flame build. We've also got auto attacks for Stark. So both of the damage dealers for gillyShark looking to scale up a little bit. Schumann getting another slow, this time onto Chrysinator. But as mentioned, there's that big wave clear difference. Grand Paladin had to wander pretty far forward, and they're going to be first blood. Last few auto attacks ring true. Chrysinator onto Stark. There's the vault in. Looks like the rest of gillyShark were a little too far away. Oh, EQB walks through the entire Dragon's Breath there. We see and hear the fly. Oh, there's the hammering, but unfortunately, Stark unable to connect a little bit further. Drebs is able to trade up pretty handily into Schumann thanks to their level 1 Rolling Thunder, giving Thrall some percent damage right off the bat. Chrysinator making the rotation down. As is Rogue. It looks like gillyShark a little bit outnumbered here. Drebs isn't able to land any further CC, so it's 2 takedowns to none in favor of Lightwell. They're also going to get this siege camp, which, depending on how hard they push with, might get most of this front wall. Leoric not the strongest as far as de-pushing a camp. And Chrysinator happy to set up shop here with the siege camp. Already 1 tower down, with the second tower almost taken out as well. A great peel from Rogue. And we've got level 4s on both sides now. Drev's looking for those Frostwolf connections. Completing Frostwolf pack at level 4 gives a huge cooldown reduction on the root for Thrall. We've also got repeated offense for Rogue. Already up to 1 stack there. With Lightwell Unleashed working on that Bruiser camp, I like gillyShark's understanding that they have a little bit of space on the battleground, dropping some early gems in. Stark and Schumann once again doubling up on the bot lane. Grand Paladin potentially in a fair bit of trouble here. It looks like they're going to get out to safety. Chromie up to 17 stacks on the Dragon's Breath level 1. Deep breathing. We can see Chrysinator vaulting around like crazy. That's thanks to Death Dealer at level 4. A pretty sizable increase in both damage and mobility for the Vala. Potion of Shielding from Iron, giving that little bit extra HP that EQB needed to survive the onslaught. Rev Web Weavers are summoned. We're neck and neck towards level 7. And gillyShark continue to play this duo lane in bot, while Lightwell Unleashed instead send all 4 to the top lane. Google me, just in the rotation to prevent any sort of flank from the Anubarak. There's the fly and boomerang picked up for Stark. I think this is a great choice. Secret weapon, very popular in the auto attack build, but boomerang really increases the wave clear that Falstad brings to bear. The spell armor shred also going to be pretty helpful for Gul'dan. There's the double stun onto Vala, and that's the first takedown. A fair bit of damage onto EQB, but they're going to be able to squeak by. Top fort does fall in the meantime. Grand Paladin wants to press the issue a little bit harder, but without Falstad, they're not going to have much kill threat on the Muradin. Stormbolt lands true. There's the follow-up whip. Excellent timing on the burrow charge from Grand Paladin. Gets them out of the loop. Robot Wizard already possessing their heroic. thanks to Chromie's trait. Gul'dan finishing out Pursuit of Flame. So they've got a little bit more range. They can stay a little bit safer now. Checking in on bot side. Schumann trading into Graves there. The Burrow Charge gets caught by the Time Trap. Google Me looking for Grand Paladin. There's the slow. Schumann gets a good peel here. But there's the loop, this time onto the Leoric. That's 15 gems that gillyShark stand to lose. Looks like Stark is able to pick them all up and escape. Fair enough. No global available for Falstad yet. So they're going to have to take the slow walk home. Or back from home, really. You can teleport to home. We've also got Drevs set up on this neutral siege camp with the rest of Lightwell Unleashed picking up their heroics. gillyShark just catching up now. Okay, Google Me caught here in the middle. They're going to be able to walk away without too much trouble. Schumann has found Rogue, and Graves on the bot turning. Speaking of heroics, we've got Horrify, Mighty Gust, Lornado, Entomb, and Cocoon. Chrysinator dodges the Burrow Charge with a timely vault. On the other side, we've got Stark under a lot of threat. There's the Horrify, but it's a little late. 20 gems on the ground. EKB will escape. Iron might not be so lucky. Oh, EKB caught. Grand Paladin able to pick up most of the gems, but it's 20 gems that Stark dropped there. Schumann tries to stop Robot Wizard from joining in on the fight. Iron dodges narrowly there, and Chrysinator is running rampant on the Vala. Stark flies in with the Gust, but it looks like none are going to end up caught in a bad position. So Lightwell Unleashed pick up a few more takedowns. About a level lead now on experience. We can see that is thanks pretty much exclusively to that heroic experience deficit that gillyShark are up against. We've got heroics coming back off cooldown shortly for both Falstad and Gul'dan. Lightwell Unleashed have enough to turn in. Chrysinator will get the last few gems delivered on the top side. Drevs caught in the Entomb. Stark can't connect the auto attacks in time. It's a 5-hero commitment from gillyShark at Mingo Knight, which means that top lane pretty heavily pushed in. The Web Weavers spawn as far up as your minion wave extends to. Chrysinator having to vault away to safety. Keeping that hatred up. And with hatred, of course, comes movement speed. Level 13's online for Lightwell Unleashed. There's the Lornado just to try and pull Google Me off of this mid fort. Chrysinator at full move speed thanks to the level 7 Hot Pursuit. They've also got Tempered by Discipline at level 13, so each auto attack gives them a fair bit of healing now. And Chrysinator has had no trouble continuing to find those autos. Here's the rotation down to the bot lane. Schumann in a lot of trouble. They did get the extended Wraith Walk at level 13. There's the loop, this time onto Iron. They've got 28 gems. They're caught in a weird spot. Chrysinator gusted under the towers will fall. Stark falling low here. Drevs single HP. Grand Paladin, can they escape? They've got 40 gems. Drevs falling low here. Grand Paladin looks like they're able to make it out alive. Entomb is back off cooldown. Can they catch Rogue? They get the Oriole, but none of gillyShark are in range to follow up. Another couple of stuns here. Great Lornado brings the Angel of Hope back in. She'll pop her heroic. First opportunity that Rez has made much sense. And so, in spite of those takedowns, Lightwell Unleashed are still at full fighting force. We are 5v5 here on the battleground. Root lands onto Rogue. There's the loop. This time onto Iron. They pop like a balloon. Drevs comes in with the Sundering. Grand Paladin looks to escape. Stark will drop their gems. Grand Paladin once again escaping with 40. Chrysinator vaults in one more time. Oh, and connects. Schumann gets the damage reduction and picks up the gems. Both top lane and mid were pretty far back towards gillyShark's base, and so not too much pushing power out of that objective. A little bit of a sour result if you're a gillyShark fan. Of course, they managed to recover most of their gems. Schumann, the big bank now. We'll see if they try and get back-to-back turn-ins here. Looks like they'll go for it. There's the fly-in from Stark. Mid lane likely mostly mitigated thanks to this bruiser grab. And Stark already getting busy on the bot fort. We've got Drevs in top lane, so Thrall a little bit closer here. Grand Paladin goes for the burrow charge in and immediately dies. Chrysinator vaulting in aggressively, caught in the entomb. Can Schumann get the rest of their team out to safety? It looks like they will escape. So Grand Paladin falling there, once again, really mitigates the pushing power that gillyShark at Bingo Night will get out of this objective. Back to back, and they've only managed to get bottom fort here. A tough position for them to be in, no doubt. Up to 136 stacks on Creed of the Hunter. So Vala's already unlocked 2 of her quest rewards, which is additional percent. Okay, there's the Gust. Oh, the Horrify does not connect before the vault goes through, and so Chrysinator runs to safety. There's the Entomb. It walls Robot Wizard out, but Chrysinator on the front line continues to chase. We've got level 16s on both sides. This is a pretty meaningful power spike for EQB on the Gul'dan, as long as they're able to continue connecting the Fell Flames. Their AoE damage is extraordinarily potent. Schumann spawns right in front of Chrysinator and immediately dies. Unfortunately, a lot of trait value for gillyShark at Bingo Night. There's the loop, this time on the EQB. It's double loop thanks to the level 20 upgrade from Chromie. EQB able to escape here. There's the Sundering as well, but Google Me and Drevs have to retreat. Grand Paladin under pressure, but it's Iron who will fall first. There's a return takedown. Resurrect will come through. Lightwell Unleashed are undeterred, pushing through this mid-keep. They're going to posture for core here. Schumann respawning now, but without Gul'dan present, it's going to be a little bit difficult for gillyShark to stop this push. Chrysinator still very healthy and connected on the core. They'll kill Stark, and that's the best hope that gillyShark had at defending this push. The minions are in range. We are far more interested in hitting heroes than a building. Grand Paladin will fall, and so it is a full team wipe as Lightwell Unleashed finish off the core. A 15-minute game here for Game 1 in the series. GG and well played to both teams. The overwhelming damage output of the Vala ended up being a little too much for gillyShark to handle. Grand Paladin having a particularly rough time on the Anubarak in those engagements. Anubarak doesn't really like it when you click on him a lot, and Vala really likes to click on tanks a lot, so it was a tough matchup, to say the least. Some excellent vaults from Chrisinator as well to get them out of some tricky situations. gillyShark definitely showed plenty of signs of life throughout the game, but the Lightwell Unleashed pressure ended up being a little too strong for the home team. Anything out of the ordinary? Nothing too strange here. Level 16 opting for Will of Heaven, granting attack speed rather than Reservoir of Hope. A little bit more commonly seen in most Oriel builds, but of course if you've got an auto attack Vala, why not juice that auto attack speed even higher? Fair enough. So there you have it. Game 1 in the books. Lightwell Unleashed are able to secure their first win on their battleground selection. gillyShark opted for first pick when they won the coin toss, so I would expect them to favor first pick once again. And with that in mind, and seeing how comfortable Lightwell Unleashed were on the tight rotation heavy battleground of Tomb of the Spider Queen, I would expect them to take us to Infernal Shrines, as that is a additional pretty short rotation team fight focused battleground. It has also historically been the most popular battleground for Nexus Gaming Series, so it's a safe bet for a couple different reasons. If you just tuned in midway through Game 1, welcome, happy to have you. This is the second match of the Nexus Division this season, and the first broadcast I've managed to pick up, so I'm excited to start off the season with everyone who's tuned in to check out the newly reformed Nexus Division. Last year we didn't have one, and this year we do. Things only get better and better. If you haven't already and you want to, feel free to drop a follow. I've been told that that is a thing that I should say as someone on Twitch, but as someone who's never thought of monetizing this channel, I don't truly know what the follows are for. But if you wanna, I think it notifies people depending on your settings. So, you know, if you're liking the content and you want to tune in again, feel free. And it looks like we've got our second battleground selected for Game 2. It is another Lightwell Unleashed choice. This time we're headed to Battlefield of Eternity. Oh, thank you for the Smolly. Thank you for the follow, Smitty. Thought you already were. You know, I would have guessed that you already were as well, as I'm pretty sure we've seen each other around this stream once or twice. Alright, so not as rotational as Infernal Shrines, but Battlefield of Eternity definitely still a team fight focused battleground. One that heavily emphasizes the objective as well. The Immortals, some of the more potent objectives across all of our battlegrounds in the pool. Second, probably only to Sky Temple, honestly. So, with how confident Lightwell Unleashed looked with Chrisinator on Vala, I'd expect Vala to have a much higher draft priority in Game 2. She is good at scrapping, she's good at burning through immortal HP, and when piloted well, can be a real nuisance. So, I imagine that will supplant the Johanna ban we saw from Game 1. Johanna's still rather comfortable. Did I say comfortable? Johanna's still plenty powerful, but a lot of her potency comes from the wave clear that she brings, and on a 2-lane battleground like Battlefield of Eternity, it's far less impactful. So, if I had to guess which of the 3 bans that gillyShark were going to supplant with a Vala ban, it would be that Johanna. Alright, looks like we are ready for our Game 2 draft, so let's get into it and see what sort of adaptations gillyShark are going to try making. We see a Malthael ban. That was not on my bingo card. I will admit it. He did see some love in the last patch. Okay. Very interesting. Material as well. Okay. Not wanting any sort of shenanigans, Lightwell Unleashed. Sniff that Malthael ban and get rid of Cho'Gall. Makes perfect sense. But as I was saying, Malthael, in the most recent patch, got some minor buffs and reworks to his W build, banning out both Cho and Gall. The hero's so nice they banned it twice. We'll see how gillyShark want to adjust their strategy. If they're comfortable on the Vala, I'd expect to see it picked first. It's going to be Imperious instead. So, do Lightwell Unleashed respond with the Vala Ariel once again? It's a potent map for both heroes. There's lots of terrain for the Oriel to find those wall stuns against with her Detainment Strike. And as mentioned, Vala can just chew through an Immortal. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We see the Vala Ariel again. The patented Oops All Bruisers. We've got Imperious, Sonya, and Artanis. We'll see how Lightwell Unleashed want to respond. They'll ban the Brightwing. A little surprising to me. Get rid of the Uther once again. We don't want to see double support, say gillyShark. Lightwell Unleashed opted for 2 ranged last time. Knowing Robot Wizard as a player, Ballstad is always an option. They're going to opt for Johanna and Li Ming instead. So Li Ming bringing some additional long-range poke damage for their Immortal Burn. All melee, all the time. No healers. We're just here to have fun. gillyShark at Bingo Night. Really throwing us for a loop here and testing the limits of our understanding of the meta. Last choice here for Drevs. We'll see what they pick up for the off lane. It's going to be Leoric. Bring some percent damage and survivability. Alright, let's take a look at these drafts. gillyShark at Bingo Night have opted for a full melee, full bruiser setup. Imperious Sonya, Artanis Varian, and Thrall. With Lightwell Unleashed going for a far more traditional 2-ranged, 2 frontline, 1 healer. I heavily favor Lightwell Unleashed's draft of these two. Heavily. I think no ranged damage into Vala might be tricky. Of course, Johanna doesn't have, neither Johanna nor Leoric have much in the way of lockdown, so it might be tough for Lightwell Unleashed to keep the heavy melee composition of gillyShark from running down this Vala. We'll see how it shakes out here in game number 2, and if gillyShark are able to take us to a game 3. Introducing them again, we've got Schumann on Varian, EQB on Imperious, Stark playing Sonya, Grand Paladin on Thrall, and Iron on the Artanis. To the right in red, trying to seal it out in 2, we've got Drevs on Leoric, Rogue on Oriel, Chrysinator on Vala, Robot Wizard playing Li Ming, and Google Me on Johanna. They are Lightwell Unleashed. Level 1. Okay, we've gone for Echo of the Elements at level 1 for Thrall. Little surprising. A massive swap from Iron onto Drevs. They'll Wraith Walk. Do they have one more auto attack? EQB gets the Celestial Charge, and they land that first takedown. Of course, Lightwell Unleashed get to push here in bot lane basically unfettered, because Varian is not going to stop this Vala. Google Me has a lot of HP to play with. They've got their Unstoppable as well, a pretty potent additional source. And so that's front wall on bot port already gone. Top side, not quite as much progress made from our all melee fellows. Of course, it's not just fellows, because Sonya's here. Checking in on bot lane, we've got a good old-fashioned base race. Lightwell Unleashed heavily in front of that race. A great boop from Rogue prevents any sort of swap from Iron. Lightwell Unleashed a little bit ahead on the experience front as well. About a quarter of a level lead thus far. We've got Iron headed down to this siege camp. They've got amateur opponents, so they get through these minions very quickly. I don't know if Google Me was able to scout them out. Schumann caught in a rough spot here. Chrysinator vaults away from Stark. One more auto attack will seal the deal. Chrysinator falls. Schumann able to escape. Iron picks up that siege camp, and we've got level 4s on both sides. Varian opting for Colossus Smash at level 4. I wasn't sure if it was going to be Smash or Twin Blades. I was pretty confident it was not going to be Taunt. And lo and behold, we have the shouting. Interestingly enough, it isn't a bad choice on the battleground, if only because it really accelerates the amount of immortal burn your team has. That armor reduction paired with the amateur opponent of Artanis means they get through the first half of the objective in 10 seconds. They get through it so fast that Schumann doesn't even have their cooldown back up. Of course, the blind from Google Me is going to be really punishing Iron falling low here. They get one more proc on their trait, but the resets come in. Robot Wizard chasing onto Ikibi. One more slow will do it, and that is another 2 takedowns, 3 total, in favor of Lightwell Unleashed. Stark looks like they're going to be able to sneak around here. Lightwell Unleashed, after those takedowns, did the, I think, wise thing. Took the guaranteed value, went for, oh, Grand Paladin, oh, they're going to get a reset on their level 4. But as mentioned, this is a very potent objective, so a full shield immortal, nothing to sneeze at, may be able to get through this whole fort front wall. Of course, this is the big problem of going all melee. As mentioned, your inability to step up to a comfortable range to kind of ward the rest of Lightwell Unleashed off of your objective means that they get a pretty free clear of our blue immortal. There's the slow onto Chrysinator. The root from Grand Paladin does not connect. Google Me interrupts Ikibi's Celestial Charge. Iron and Drebs continue to smack one another. And we've got a rotation up to top side. Iron has already used their Unstoppable here. They're kind of stranded, and Chrysinator's going to chase him down. And there's the takedown. Robot Wizard gets another reset on their cooldowns, but no other fights need having. All right, another neutral camp, this time for Lightwell Unleashed. Google Me wants to get through this bot tower. Ikibi does not connect the Celestial Charge onto Robot Wizard. Grand Paladin catches 2. Google Me falling very low here. Ikibi kind of caught on an island. They land the spear onto Rogue, but they'll end up falling. There's the slow from Schumann, up to 18 stacks. Oh, Grand Paladin, they're able to outrun the worst of the damage. Oh, but Robot Wizard blinks in with the heroic. Disintegrate getting that final shot. Google Me onto Iron here. They use the Blessed Shield. It's another takedown for Lightwell Unleashed. 9-2 in favor of the red team. We've got Robot Wizard already working on the Immortal. Chrysinator will join them as well. Without heroics, gillyShark are going to have a fair bit of trouble stepping up for the objective. So it is likely to be a full shield immortal in favor of Lightwell Unleashed. We can see once again the big advantage in experience. Chrysinator, there's the Crystal Aegis. Do they get the vault out in time? There is the takedown. Iron dodges most of the disintegrate. Google Me swapped in. They dodge the immortal stuns. Schumann and Grand Paladin working on Drevs, but the resets keep coming through, and Robot Wizard gets the takedowns needed. It is a full 5 hero wipe in favor of the red team once again. Lightwell Unleashed lose the Vala, but in the end, win big on the second immortal phase. gillyShark have closed the gap in the heroic talent tier. What do we have? We've got Wrath of the Angiris, Leap, Earthquake, and Suppression Pulse. I think that makes a lot of sense into the auto attack Vala. Robot Wizard has scouted this massive flank. Stark leaps in onto the Li Ming, and there's the takedown. Drevs chasing onto Stark here without the... Oh, okay. There's the heroic from Oriel. Vala kidnapped by... Okay, yeah, that's another dead Demon Hunter. A lot of damage here. March of the Black King. I did not catch that at first. EKB will fall. Immortal still has shielding on it, so still in ranged form, already through the fort, most of the way through this keep front wall as well. Stark not going to make it out alive. And Iron, the sole survivor for gillyShark at Bingo Night. Lightwell Unleashed are on a tear. They don't have any other damage dealers with them. Vala just respawning now. Li Ming was completely out of mana. But even so, top keep most of the way gone after only the second objective phase. Level 13s in favor of Lightwell Unleashed. We've got Spectral Leech for Leoric. So an auto-attack Leoric, as well as an auto-attack Vala. Okay. Li Ming opting for Glass Cannon. Seems very brave into a Leap Sonya. But far be it from me to question these better players. There's a reason that I have never been to the Nexus Division. Google Me scouts the bush, finds Grand Paladin here. Opting not to throw the... There's the leap onto Robot Wizard. Robot falling very low here. And that's the takedown. Rogue got abducted. They're in the Crystal Aegis, but it's not going to be enough. And so, 2 takedowns in favor of gillyShark that closes the experience gap towards the level 13 talent tier. We've got healing reduction from Varian Mortal Strike. And continuing on the Celestial Charge build, we've got Pathetic Mortals at level 13. EKB has found Google Me. They don't have... Okay, yeah, they're going to be able to escape. Their trait just coming off cooldown at the last possible moment to escape. And Lightwell Unleashed are really close to level 16 now. They've got way more minion experience and hero experience at this point. So we'll see what they opt for here. They use the shout. Johanna goes down. Not what I was expecting. And the race is neck and neck. Level 16's in favor of Lightwell Unleashed here. We've opted for Bestow Hope once again, or Will of Heaven rather. Vala has so much attack speed, you wouldn't even know what to do with it. But once again, it's the Colossus Smash amateur opponent combo. Iron probably looking for a swap here. Do they connect? Robot Wizard is leap available, not for another 20 seconds. They find Draves, however, and they will fall. Grand Paladin falling very low here. They're able to escape. Man, that level 13 spell shield is strong. The Immortal has been pushing all the while. It finishes off what it started, getting through the bot fort front wall. Google Me finds EKB. Oh, does not connect with the Wrath of the Angiris here. They're in trouble. There's the dismount, but it looks like Personator is not connected. Stark leaps in, but does not connect. Looking for Robot Wizard there. Level 16's around the corner here, but gillyShark aren't going to wait. Take the fight immediately. EKB falls. Iron falling low. There's the Wrath, or the March of the Dead King. Thus far, it's a 1-for-1 trade. Personator gets the vault in and will finish off Sonya. A little bit of Diablo PvP action. Alright, we've got even talent tiers. What do we have? More Celestial Charge talents, this time opting for Celestial Swiftness. We've also got Slam 16 Giant Slammer, which is percent damage on both Slam and auto attacks from Sonya. Still only at 19 out of the 20 stacks required for level 1 Echo of the Elements. Not exactly where you'd want to be at this stage of the game. Lightwell Unleashed continue to exert pressure. They are free to do so thanks to their range advantage. Schumann starting up this camp, but it looks like they're not going to have time to get through it. Lightwell Unleashed had a much earlier jump onto the Immortal, and so gillyShark pretty far behind. Blessed Shield used off-screen there. We'll see how Lightwell and gillyShark play around this next phase. There's the leap in onto Chrysinator, immediate Crystal Aegis. They get the vault, but immediately fall. Can they get onto Robot Wizard here? The melee of it all getting a little bit hectic here. Drevs connects with the auto attacks, and that's a lot of damage now that levels 13 and 16 are online for the auto attack Leoric. Robot Wizard getting the resets, getting the takedowns. So in the end, it is 4 for 1 in favor of Lightwell Unleashed. Drevs doesn't have the Entomb, can't stop EQD from escaping, but they won't need to. They're going to pick up this Bruiser camp for bot lane, as well as a very healthy Immortal, both of which are headed for bot side. This could be all she wrote for gillyShark. They're going to have to make a astronomically heroic defense here of this keep. It's already taken damage, and there's a catapult and a mercenary camp and an Immortal headed their way. They're taking the big flank. There's the leap in, but it doesn't connect. Rogue able to escape. EQB looking for Robot Wizard. There's a great Crystal Aegis. Grand Paladin onto the Vala. Of course, no one is hitting the Immortal. The Immortal is what's going to end the game. The fight rages on. EQB falls. Grand Paladin is next. Iron last. And it looks like that is going to be all she wrote here for game number 2. Lightwell Unleashed having a dominant showing in game 1 and continuing to press their advantage in game 2. Gotta feel good to start off the season with a domination. And there you have it. Game 2 in the books. And the nasty cut. Apologies, friends. We'll update the scoreboard and see if we can't start trying to wrangle ourselves a winner's interview. It was a little bit of a... I don't want to say... I'll say experimental draft for gillyShark at Bingo Night, opting for a full melee composition with no healer. Not the most common choice, one that kind of hinges heavily on getting the damage dealers of your opponent out of the fight quickly, but between Rogue on the Orioles, Detainment Strikes and Crystal Aegises, the blinks and dashes from Chrysinator and Robot Wizard, Lightwell Unleashed were able to weather the storm of that initial onslaught, and then you just kind of get kited to death if you're an all-melee composition. The takedown count kind of tells the whole story, 28-11 in favor of Lightwell Unleashed there. Strangest thing for me this game would definitely be the March of the Black King. Was not expecting that. Outside of that, pretty standard looking talents to my eye. So let's head over here and see if we've got friends. It looks like we do. So we'll be joined shortly by some representatives of Lightwell Unleashed. Performed very well in their first series. Excuse my stalling, just doing a little bit of behind the scenes. Producing stuff. In the end, it was a strong showing from Lightwell Unleashed. Yellow. Let me just hop over to this interview scene so everyone can hear you. Congratulations on the win. Season 20 starting off with a domination. That's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it feels really nice, especially we're a team playing together kind of for the first time. We play casually together, so this felt good for the org.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now you mentioned that you've played together casually. In my early scouting, I saw that a bunch of folks came over from Winter is Coming. How much history outside of that do you guys have as a team?
I think it's like minimal. We play actually in a Discord channel that we call the Lightwell, which is where our name comes from. And there's a couple other friends in there too, and we just kind of mix it up with teams every once in a while. But yeah, the Winter's Coming had a few members for sure, and then we just have made friends along the way. So not very long.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. And you mentioned that it is an org, it's Lightwell Unleashed, and you've got one other Lightwell team represented this season. Is that correct?
Hell yeah, we do. Lightwell Unhinged. Those are our boys.
They're cheering us on right now as well, so we'll give a shout out to them as well.
Awesome. The community is half of why we enjoy NGS, so excited to have friends watching. Game 1, Tomb of the Spider Queen. I was a little worried after the draft that the wave clear disparity between the two teams was going to make it a little bit challenging for y'all to keep pace with gillyShark's rotations, but it looked like just the raw damage output from Chrysinator's Vala was enough to kind of put them on the back foot. Was that a strategy in draft, or did you all recognize, like, oh, we just kind of have to take the fight to them? If we just let them clear waves, it's not going to look good.
Yeah, as our draft kind of progressed, we kind of realized, oh, frig, we don't have much wave clear, and then, like, we're going to draft more, but we're kind of just like, you know what, well, like you said, take it to them. And luckily, we kind of just were able to do that. And then we also had the RAL, which, kind of underrated. I can Q kind of every way to half health, and then Vala can come in and W it and kind of get us on the tempo, especially if we're ahead in a kill or something.
Absolutely. And you guys were able to really capitalize early, punishing the Anubarak with the auto attack Vala, and like that just kind of set the pace for the rest of game 1.
Yeah, it's a nice pick. In my opinion, having auto attackers into Anubarak. As soon as they miss the E, you can just open up on them.
Drebs, I feel like I cut you off a couple times. Anything else to add there?
No, I just wanted to kind of mirror what Rogue said. We actually did consider deeply our wave clear, which is why we ended up going with Chromie in the last bit there. But Chris is kind of just an animal on Vala, and he was just pushing the pace, which certainly helped, because I agree there was a bit of a disparity there.
Chrysinator, absolutely an animal. I had the pleasure of playing with them for a season, and it is always exciting to see them play the Vala, vaulting in with abandon. Game 2, a little bit of a different draft approach from gillyShark.
Sure.
Was that all melee, no healer, something that you had seen on a scouting report, or did that take you all by surprise as well?
No idea about that one.
Yeah, it was shocking.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I'm a big fan of trying to change up the meta and trying something a little outside the box, but it certainly was surprising.
Absolutely. I second that. I think the meta criminally underexplored. I don't know that they struck gold this time, but...
Hey, maybe it's the map. Maybe there's another map that they've tested the 5, melee strategy, and it works for them. I think
Absolutely.
that the Leo pick kind of at the end really was difficult for them. I don't think they had an answer for that. But they were, giving both Chris and Robot Wizard a tough time in the back line for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, they were doing a great job playing around vision as well. As you said, there are other battlegrounds where that could very well be the secret sauce. And I was shocked to see Robot pick Glass Cannon into Leaf Sonya.
You
think
should
we
have
all
heard the
were.
calm.
You
I
sure
mean,
the calm.
don't get me wrong. Like, Robot's
I
my
made a
boy.
mistake.
Like, Robot's my boy, but like that was just too much.
Yeah, it was a quiet like, oh guys, I think I made a mistake. As soon as we hit 13, which we really appreciated hearing from him.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, in the end, it didn't end up being a nail in your coffin, you guys. With the range advantage, if you were able to survive that initial onslaught, which, like, props to you, Rogue, between the Crystal Aegises and the detainment
They
strikes,
were huge.
keeping the backline alive just after the initial leap means that we can just kite them to death now, and that was, like, beautiful to watch.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we're trying
Yeah,
to
he
hope
was working
for.
overtime. Yeah, he was doing a great job back there, keeping them alive.
All right, that's all I have for questions about the series. Before I let you get back and celebrate with the team, the floor is yours for any shout-outs you want to give.
I just guess Lightwell Unhinged. Shout out to our people there. I know that they're supporting us. We love them. Couldn't do it without them. So that'd be it for me.
And then just our team, like it's our first season, like actually playing like, I guess competitively together. So it was really nice to see us come together and get a nice domination to start the season. So it's a good step in the right direction, I think.
Awesome, sounds great. Well, good luck with the rest of your season. I hope to see you all again.
Thank you, and thanks so much
Thanks
for
for casting
casting. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. It is. It's really cool. So thank you for that.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
happy
we
to
love
do it.
watching it back.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you.
catch you later, my friends. Take care.
Take care. Thanks.
So there you have it. Lightwell Unhinged, very pleased with their first match performance. Who can blame them? A domination in as convincing a fashion has got to feel good. They're definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with here moving forward in the Nexus Division. But there are still many teams that we've got to see. Lots more matches left to play before the power rankings really start to make themselves clear. That's going to be it for me. Before I sign off, I'll give some shout-outs of my own. First and foremost, to all you who tuned in, thanks for joining us and cheering on these teams. The support of the community is what makes being a part of NGS so great. So thank you all for coming out and giving these teams your energy. We'll also give a huge shout-out to all of the volunteer staff of the Nexus Gaming Series. We wouldn't be able to participate in a league if it didn't exist, and it wouldn't exist if not for all their time and effort. So thank you to all of them as well. And last but not least, a huge shout out to all of the artists, musicians, and programmers whose work I feature on the stream. It wouldn't look or sound anywhere near as good without their contributions. You can find links to all of their work below or coming up here in a credit roll. Please do go check it out. It's all open source or Creative Commons licensed material, so if there's anything that you've heard or seen that you liked this evening, it could be in your next project as well. Until next time, friends, good luck and have fun out there. Peace and love.